That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, I am going to try my best to not victory lap this entire video. I know y'all do not care to hear about I was right, because whenever we are wrong, we definitely go out there and hang our head in shame for the entire week. But I'll try my best to refrain myself. If I do let it come out here or there, I am very sorry. But guys, also, thank y'all so much for going out there and just killing the like button on every single video. I mean, y'all are getting some videos over 500 likes, just completely demolishing our record in terms of how many likes we've ever seen on a video. If we could get this video over 1,000 likes, that would be absolutely insane. I'm sure this video will get anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 views. So if 20% of y'all like this video right now, we should be able to crush that goal. And lastly, I just want to remind y'all, I will be live streaming every single night this week at 9 p.m. Central. Unless there is a game that night, then we will be live streaming as soon as that game is over, and that will be on this YouTube channel. Okay, now that's enough of the introduction. Let's get into these 5 wide receivers, and let's start it off with Julio Jones. Now with Julio Jones, we all knew that this was a wide receiver that was going to be a top 10 guy going forward. I was being a little bit bold calling him a top 5 guy because I just really wanted to get my point across last week that his struggles up until week 6 were 100% related to the hamstring. And I just want to reiterate the kind of analysis that we were looking at with Julio Jones because I think it is going to carry over to future weeks, because I've already heard some people going out here and saying that this is a sell high window for Julio, that we are going to see Calvin Ridley emerge as the top option in this offense and that there won't be enough targets to go around. But when we are looking at Julio Jones, I understand he's old, he's on the decline, but still, the difference between a player like Julio Jones and a T.Y. Hilton or a Julio Jones and an A.J. Green is while those 2 other wide receivers have been fully healthy this entire season and they have not been producing, while Julio Jones has not been producing, it's been because of his hamstring injury. And I know maybe you can come out here and say, Mason, look at week 2, yada, yada, yada. And I will tell you guys, another reason that we can look at Julio Jones and determine that he's not in this other class of veteran wide receivers is if we go and we look at his 2019 production, his 2018 production, and his 2017 production, and see that he has consistently been a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, not only in terms of raw counting stats, but also in terms of fantasy production. And a lot of people were coming out here assuming that he just fell off a cliff automatically this season because they were lumping him up with a T.Y. Hilton or an A.J. Green just because of all these guys are in the decline on their careers. I am here to say that Julio Jones is someone that if you are hearing your owner in your league say that they are willing to sell Julio Jones after this blow up week, yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more this week than it would have last week when we were advising you to go out there and aggressively trade for Julio Jones. Still, it does not matter. This is a wide receiver that we have as a top 5 guy going forward. And y'all know I love Calvin Ridley. We were higher on Calvin Ridley this season than almost anyone. But still, we have to acknowledge the fact that Julio Jones just looks like an alpha wide receiver. We can see both Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones be top 5 in fantasy production for the wide receiver position for the rest of 2020. If you just look at how bad their defense is, if you look at who their wide receiver 3 is, I mean, we know Russell Gage is not a special talent, and Matt Ryan is going to have to air this ball out if they want to see any chance at winning games in the future. So guys, Julio Jones is not a sell high. He is a buy high. Please do not go out there and move him off your roster. Now, our next player that y'all know we were all in on coming up, and this is A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown comes out and just is an explosive part of this Tennessee Titans offense. We all know that was the game to watch, Tennessee versus Houston. We did not know that going into the week, but looking back on it, just so exciting. And what's even more exciting is what we have seen from A.J. Brown at the end of 2019 and now at the beginning of 2020, because we know after he emerged as that top option in the Tennessee Titans passing offense when Ryan Tannehill took over in 2019, A.J. Brown was actually the most efficient wide receiver in the NFL for that period of time. And then we go into 2020 and we understand that A.J. Brown is coming from his rookie season to his sophomore year, and that he actually came into the NFL a little bit early. He was an early declare. So this was a wide receiver based on his prospect profile we knew was going to be able to transition and just kind of progress as a wide receiver as time went on, because he came in just not with his skill set fully developed, and he already looked like one of the best wide receivers in the league in 2019, a no-brainer smash alpha wide receiver. We saw that in week 5, and now we saw it in week 6 as well. I really hope you went out there and invested into A.J. Brown when we told y'all to back in week 4 whenever he was coming back from his knee injury, because right now it looks like if you were going to go out there and trade for A.J. Brown, you were going to have to pay a fortune. And I will say it is going to be interesting going through and monitoring this Jonnu Smith injury, because if Jonnu Smith is out of this offense, I honestly think that this is going to end up helping A.J. Brown. We could see his touchdown equity just get a small bump up, even with Corey Davis coming back and a bad matchup on the horizon going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I still love A.J. Brown as a low-end wide receiver 1. So guys, another player that if someone's willing to sell high on them, we are willing to go out there and buy high, because he looks like he could be a winner in 2020. Now, our next wide receiver is actually a pair of wide receivers, a teammate group, and this is Will Fuller and Brandin Cooks. Now, I will say I did not expect this type of production from Brandin Cooks in week 6. We knew that with Will Fuller, based on the target share that he is seeing in Houston, as well as his career level of efficiency, this is an auto start player for you every single week. But honestly, it may look like that's going to be the same thing for Brandin Cooks, because Deshaun Watson looks like peak Deshaun Watson at the current moment when he came in and just completely torched the NFL his rookie season. And when we are looking at Brandin Cooks and Will Fuller, they are just being highly efficient with the targets that they are receiving. And in this offense, there is really nowhere else to go to with the ball. And on top of that, we've even seen Randall Cobb get a touchdown pass here or there that could have also gone to either Will Fuller or Brandin Cooks. So I want to say sell one of these wide receivers coming off of this performance, but still, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be worth it. Definitely, I think that Brandin Cooks is going to be the guy that's a little bit more volatile week to week, because if you look at the target breakdown over the entire career history here, we know that Brandin Cooks is going to be that traditional field stretcher, where Will Fuller was used that way in the past, but now that there is no Deshaun Watson in this offense, actually, instead of Brandin Cooks sliding into that Hopkins role, we've seen Will Fuller move that way, and Brandin Cooks is being the field stretcher. So we know Cooks is going to be able to provide you those high ceiling games, but the volatility is going to be there. But when we are looking at Will Fuller, we stand by what we've been saying all season: an auto start wide receiver for you. I don't care the matchup. He looks the part. I really wish he would have bought after week 2 when he had that disappointing performance due to his injury against the Baltimore Ravens. I know a bunch of people laughed at me when I told y'all to buy him low, saying, oh, buy low on Will Fuller because he's injured, like always, and I thought it was funny. But guys, all I got to say is, who is laughing now when you are going up against Will Fuller and getting crushed? Now, our next wide receiver. Now this is, I got so many DMs thanking me. I got so many Twitter ads. Guys, thank y'all. Justin Jefferson, y'all know how high we were on Justin Jefferson coming into this week, and it was just the dream spot for Justin Jefferson. And now through 5 games, I actually heard that he has more receiving yards than Randy Moss had through 5 games. Just absolutely absurd with what we have seen from Justin Jefferson so far. I know he disappointed for us in week 5 against the Seattle Seahawks, but still, Jefferson, with his age-adjusted production, is putting him in a class of Hall of Fame wide receivers, someone that you cannot go out there and sell high on. I think that he is comfortably a wide receiver 2 going forward. I think that when most people are expecting Adam Thielen to be the wide receiver 1 in this offense, they are going to be disappointed, because Justin Jefferson is going nowhere anytime soon. We are going to continue to see him be just an elite playmaker. Yes, he's going to be a little bit more volatile, but that's just the nature of a 21-year-old wide receiver that has some developing to do at the next level. But still, it does not matter. The ceiling is there. It is possible for Justin Jefferson to completely overtake Adam Thielen as the wide receiver 1 on a week-to-week basis. Now, our last player did not necessarily have the blow-up game of any of these other guys, but I really thought it would be important mentioning him because of how he saw his targets this week, and this is T. Higgins. So with T. Higgins, we actually kind of viewed him as a one-for-one replacement with AJ Green. And while AJ Green has not really been producing over the past few weeks, we thought that T. Higgins was just sliding into that same role and was not really going to have any standalone value in games that AJ Green was able to produce. And we looked at Tyler Boyd as the other guy that just was a mold of a wide receiver that was neither AJ Green or T. Higgins, and that he was going to be the consistent player here week to week. But honestly, we may have just been wrong, because now that AJ Green has finally gone out here and produced, we can look at what T. Higgins and his role is on this offense. And with AJ Green having his best game of the season, T. Higgins still led this team in receiving yards at 21 years old. This wide receiver is just an absolute unit. Y'all need to go out there. He's only going to continue to progress with Joe Burrow, who so far in his rookie year campaign has looked excellent. No reason to be fading any of these wide receivers. T. Higgins looks like he's legit. Okay, now I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, please make sure you go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see y'all during the live stream tonight.